believe in yourself? Who else gon' believe in you? Who else gon' believe in you? Who else gon' believe in you? You believe in yourself, yeah. Who else gon' believe in you? Who else gon' believe in you?
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in for the Manny Hauser Show. I have as my guest Courtney Hauser. Did I say it right? Is it Hauser?
You did.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. But my last name is Hauser. It's pretty easy. But anyway, y'all, this interview is going to be super dope, very informative, very inspiring, encouraging, motivating, all those great things. Courtney's going to share her story with you guys. I'm not exactly sure what she's going to say. I don't know all of it. I've read bits and pieces and seen stuff on Facebook, Instagram, but it's going to be really, really dope. So get ready. All those fans out there that love Courtney, here's your chance to share the video, show your love, comment, all of that. We're about to get it in the Manny Hauser Show. Courtney Hauser. Hey, sis, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Please tell the people who you are and what you do.
My name is Courtney Hauser, and I am a wife, a mother, a counselor, an author, an entrepreneur, and a speaker.
I love it. Got a lot of different hats you're wearing.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So tell me exactly how you started doing all the dope things that you do that I see on Facebook and Instagram, as far as from like the side of speaking and that journey.
Honestly, it started really with my own story. And I ended up getting married a few years ago. And my husband already had 2 children, and I really wanted to be able to be at home and make my own schedule, and just be there with the girls so that I could just take time to blend our family.
Makes sense.
And I really felt like boxed in with my 9 to 5. I am a mental health therapist, and I was working for an agency, but it was just day in and day out, 9 to 5, come home, and I just felt like I didn't have time to do the things that I wanted to.
Gotcha.
So God gave me a vision, and I wanted to be able to help people by speaking and teaching and preaching and counseling, but I couldn't do all of that at my job.
Makes sense.
So I did end up leaving and started my own company. And the company I have now is called I Rise Empowered Life Consulting Services.
Love it.
And so that's really how I started, just because I wanted to be at home with my family, and I wanted to use just the different things that I had experienced growing up to be able to help people. So that's in a nutshell how it started.
That makes sense. So then you went to school for the mental health, obviously.
I did.
Okay, so take me back there. So what made you have this passion to help individuals in that facet? Because you hear a lot of people being counselors and psychologists, but not too many in mental health.
Yeah. So really it happened just because as I was growing up, I experienced a lot of family dysfunction, from sexual abuse to domestic violence, and even just seeing my mom go through a domestic violence situation with her husband at that time.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of stuff that was going on in my family, and just things that were just running in our bloodline. It just seemed like a cycle of bad decisions and nobody really making it out, so to speak.
Gotcha.
And so I guess the main thing I saw was just toxic relationships. And I wanted to be able to understand why. And why this kept happening in my family, why so many of the women stayed in these abusive relationships. And like I said, seeing my mom go through what she went through, and even myself at 15 years old, I was in an abusive relationship.
Oh, wow.
It was really bad to the point where I even got a concussion. Like I was knocked out from a fight that the person I was dating at that time, that he and I had. I was also sexually abused as a teenager and as a child. So just all these different experiences, I wanted to be able to make sense of them, because I didn't want them to hold me back. I didn't want to make the same decisions that my parents made. My dad was on drugs for a long time. And so I'm like, there has to be a better way. This can't be the only way to life. And honestly, I actually thought that the better way was only for white people.
That makes sense.
I didn't really see any black people that were living differently than what we were living. So my cousins, they ended up taking me to church, and I got saved, and they just started talking to me about my future in college and what I wanted to do. And at that time, college representative came to my high school and started talking to me. And so I ended up graduating early, graduated when I was 16 years old.
That's what's up.
Congrats. And really they got me on track. My parents didn't have a car, so they got me on a bus and got me to go down there, and I just started exploring psychology and looking into it, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Got my bachelor's degree in psychology. I actually graduated college early as well.
Wow.
Finished my bachelor's in
Okay, Courtney, no need to brag on me and Dad.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, she finished everything early. Go on, Courtney.
So I finished that, and then I went on to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling.
Awesome.
And got my license from the state of Ohio as a professional counselor.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's some really great tools that you have to be able to help people.
Thank you.
Now, when you talk about that dysfunction, a lot of African Americans experience that growing up. And, it's really, really tough in order to see a better way out. With all the different things that you experienced, like what gave you hope and said, I got to do something different?
Honestly, Christ.
That's what's up.
That was my turning point, as I say.
Yeah. So how young were you at that time when your cousins were inviting you to church?
I was 15.
Okay.
Yep.
So was this before or after the abuse from the young guy?
This was from the abuse from the relationship I was in, or from what I saw.
The relationship you ran.
This actually happened right around that same time.
Wow. Okay.
And even after I got saved, there were still wounds that I had.
Makes sense.
So, and that's one thing I always tell people, just because you're saved doesn't mean that you're healed.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
you're right.
There was still a lot of stuff. Again, I grew up in dysfunction. So,
right.
Being saved didn't just automatically set me free from everything. It did
right.
set me free from a lot of things, but some things it didn't. And unfortunately, toxic relationships and abusive relationships was one of those things.
That makes sense.
But coming to know more of Christ was a turning point. My cousins introducing me to something different, telling me, there's better out there. You don't have to stay in this relationship. You don't have to stay in the city. You don't have to, you can do other things. And they were actually professionals. Gotcha. And so that kind of gave me a glimpse into, okay, there is something else out there.
Yeah.
Also going away to school, that really opened my eyes because I did go to a predominantly white school. And I was just like, whoa. Yeah. For college, not for high school, but for college, I was like, it was culture shock. It was a whole different way of living. But I had great professors, and they understood my situation. They understood where I came from, and they walked alongside me. Gotcha. And they were the ones, literally, my professor taught me how to write a check.
Oh, wow.
I was in college and didn't know how to write a check.
Wow.
They taught me, I didn't know how to book a flight. My professors were booking flights for me to go to leadership conferences. Wow, they saw the potential in me. Yeah. And they were like, you know what?
So what school was this?
This is Marietta College.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were like, she's just a diamond in the rough. She's really smart. She's got a lot of potential.
Shout out to those professors.
I know, right? So they really helped me. Also, Teran McZee, who really became a mentor of mine, he was over the multicultural affairs at that time. He really, again, another black male who made it out. He's from Flint, and he really was just like, listen, there's a whole nother way. Let me show you. Yeah. And those were the people that really helped me out.
That's what's up. And it's like, it's so key to be able to have those individuals in your life that are going to be able to pinpoint the greatness that they see inside of you, even if you don't recognize it all yourself at that point.
Yeah, very true.
That's cool. Okay, so with everything that you got going on now, you got this new little baby, like, yeah. I bet that's hard to continue as a, what they call it, mompreneur.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that is probably my biggest struggle right now, is getting back into the swing of things. Yeah. Before I was blessed to be pregnant, because it is a blessing. Before, I was doing some of everything. I was speaking somewhere every week. And then once I got pregnant, I actually had a really rough pregnancy. Gotcha. So I maybe spoke once or twice last year. And that was just hard.
Makes sense.
Because I was sick all the time. I was in the hospital. Just a lot going on. So now that he is 4 months, I'm like, all right, regaining. And honestly, my word for this year is balance. And trying to find that balance of, taking care of him, taking care of our 2 teenage daughters, which
Yeah.
that's a whole nother world, and everything they got going on. And they're also entrepreneurs. So
Awesome.
pushing them to the forefront and getting them out there, different opportunities and experiences. Also, still making
And you know
fun.
what? You should have told them they can be on the show. So let's schedule some time for them to be on the show too.
The girls?
Yeah, because I was definitely
yeah.
looking for some young people too.
Oh, absolutely. They would love to be on the show. I would
Okay.
definitely let them know.
Okay, we'll schedule some time for that.
Sounds good. Yeah, and try to balance, marriage. I'm still, still have to take care of my husband. Me, ministry.
Yeah.
My other programs that I have. So it definitely is.
Now, how do you find that balance?
Honestly, I tell myself, even in my daily activities, that everything's not going to get done today.
That's right.
And learning to be okay with that, and learning to not to major in the minors.
Yeah.
So it's more important that, I make sure I eat and take a shower and that type of stuff with the baby.
Man, listen. I'm not a woman,
you
y'all.
know,
But listen, taking a shower when you got a little baby is off the hook. I mean, when you finally get in there, like if you got like a human being with 2 eyes and some ears and some feet, like, can you watch the baby real quick while I take this shower?
Man, I'm telling you, and I'm just learning that stuff is more important than having the laundry all folded and done the way I want it.
Yeah.
I'm also learning to accept help and ask for help when I need help. To allow my husband to do stuff.
Why is it so hard for you guys as women to accept help, though? Courtney, let's talk to the ladies. Why is it so hard for y'all?
Because 2 things. One, we like to be super women.
Okay.
Like we like that. We like to be able to take on a lot and get a lot done. We like being productive. Okay. But also, we have a certain way that we like for things to be done.
Gotcha.
Okay. And
that makes sense.
We love dads and spouses, but sometimes y'all just don't do it the way that we can do it.
Okay, small confession. I was when I first got married to Marliette, I was washing the dishes my own kind of way. Oh. And she may or may not have saw some crust still left on the forks and plates. And she might have fussed at me a couple of times and said, "Babe, and I kept wondering why. I said, why don't she let me wash the dishes?" Because she was like, "You ain't doing it right, bro." So she had to take me through some training, and I finally got it together.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easier just to do it ourselves.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
Take
the time
to
teach and say, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
So, but it's necessary. Yeah. Even if it's not exactly the way that, I would do it. I, tell my husband, all right, babe, go ahead,
Gotcha.
And at least it's done. And then some stuff doesn't get done and we save it for the next day.
Gotcha. So, you talked about all the events that you were doing previously and you only were able to do 1 or 2 last year. Yeah. So I know sometimes that can be challenging because it's a transition to now I got this life. I love my child, but man, I got to get back out there. Yeah. So talk about that.
Oh, that is probably the thought that's at the forefront of my mind right now.
Okay.
Or it has been the last few months.
Yeah.
And trying to navigate how you do that and how you do that with balance.
Gotcha.
And I think honestly having a team is what I'm discovering is most helpful. Yeah. And whether that be a team of people to help with the baby, whether that be a team to help with ideas, to help with balance, structure, organization, or just a team of some people that you can consult and get their opinion. Because when you're trying to do it all in your own head, plus take care of a whole nother human being, or in my case, 3 other human beings, right. It's just it's too much, and then you feel the pressure of seeing what everybody else is doing, and you're like, man, I miss that, and that's something that I like to be real with myself. I don't like to kid myself, and when I see that, I have to remind myself, but you have a little baby, and you'll get back to. He's not going to be 4 months forever. Yeah. So right. I have to remind myself, you'll get back to that place that you were, and right now I just take the opportunities and take this time honestly to plan and prepare. Yeah. And that's again, it's just shifting my perspective of things. So.
Gotcha. And I'm liking that you are being honest and transparent about that part, because I think a lot of people deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But much more are those young ladies and even young men, they have a baby and they weren't doing nothing before the baby. And now they still not doing nothing. so it's like,
that's not my story.
No, that's not yours. But it's just like, there's two sides to it, because
right.
It's like, you could have that hunger inside, like, man, I really want to do something. Mm-hmm. But before you weren't doing nothing either. Mm-hmm. And it's not that you couldn't do anything, but you were just being unproductive. You
right.
see those people, Courtney, all the time. Posting stuff on Facebook about what they're going to do and their dreams and goals and aspirations, and you've been seeing their posts for years, mm-hmm. and they ain't really did mm-hmm. about nothing.
Mm-hmm. I think that one of the things is at some point they're going to have to get rid of the excuses.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be something else that you can be doing.
Gotcha.
There's always going to be tasks and activities and other things. But I think that the one way to go from unproductive to productive, honestly, is like limiting the amount of like TV and like social media intake and mm-hmm. just like stuff that you don't have to do.
Gotcha.
So instead of scrolling for 3 hours, you could be writing down an action plan. You could be making connections, taking steps. Instead of binge watching on Netflix, you could be working on something productive or something that has to do with your dream and goals. And so that's one thing that I like to do, is that when I do get my downtime, instead of spending it in front of the TV, I'm spending it investing in myself and working on my vision. So I think that's a big thing, because those, they're black holes. Yeah. You can sit on Netflix for 10 hours. Yeah, pretty much. You can sit on Facebook for 10 hours. Yeah. So limiting that intake and instead turning into investing in yourself.
So give them like a action plan, just like some practical steps that somebody can take. That's not this super grinder in person that's been getting stuff done, but they're trying to get started for the first time.
Yeah. I think the very first thing that needs to be done is writing down your vision. That's, even if you don't want to write a long paragraph, just writing down what you want to accomplish for the year.
Gotcha.
And it could be bullet points. Again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but sometimes it becomes more real when it's out of your head and out of just your conversation, but it's actually written down.
Makes sense.
It holds you accountable a little bit more. So I would say first things first is write it down, whatever it is. And then after you write it down, find somebody, since you're on social media all the time anyways, find somebody on social media who's doing what you want to do.
Gotcha.
And reach out to them.
Yeah.
I think that is so key. And some people won't respond to you, but some people will. Even people that you may think are big or famous or busy or got a lot going on or whatever the case might be, sometimes those people will be the ones to say, yeah, I'll go to lunch with you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll share a few things with you. Yeah, you can call me, or I can call you, or we can Skype or whatever. So find somebody who's doing what you want to do and connect with them. Let me see. Write it down. Connect with somebody on social media, and then I would say once you've written those goals down, the last thing I would do is put a timeline on them. So I want to have this done by the end of the year, or I want to have this done in 6 months or in 2 weeks, or whatever the case might be, and have a variety of those things. If everything you want to do is 5 years from now, you're not going to get anything done because it's too far out.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have to have a variety of short-term and long-term goals. So, I would say first, write it down. 2, connect with someone who's doing what you want to do already. And 3, put a timeline, put a deadline on your goals.
Yeah. Now, what if they're just scared out of their mind, though, Courtney? It's just the very thought of doing anything, because there's a lot of people in our cities that know that they're speakers, they're authors inside, they can be a life coach, relationship coach, whatever the case, but it was just like, I'm scared.
Yeah, honestly, I would say do it afraid.
Yeah.
I don't think that you have to rid yourself of fear before you do something.
Gotcha.
I don't think courage is the absence of fear, but I think having courage is doing it afraid. So I'm not going to tell you not be afraid, because some of this stuff is scary. Especially public speaking. It is the number one fear in America over death.
Wow. Yeah.
People would rather, speak in public. People rather die than speak in public.
Yeah.
So I would say do it afraid, and tell somebody that you want to do it and have them hold you accountable.
Yeah. And
don't get mad at them when they remind you what you're supposed to be doing.
I love that. All right. So, we talking about all this stuff, 2018. What's the first kind of event you're having this year?
Yeah, so one of the things that our focus has shifted to is what's called a life group.
Okay.
And basically, it is a group where we come together and we celebrate each other, we eat, we love upon each other, and we help each other grow. We challenge each other, we encourage each other, but really, it's a place for people that just feel stuck in life. So some people that you were just kind of talking about, whether they feel stuck in their relationship with God, stuck in pain from the past, stuck in career, they don't know, they're just looking for their next step. They're looking to know, what's my next direction? Where am I going?
Right.
What do I want to do with my life? Or some people that may already have a vision, but they just don't know how to get there.
Gotcha.
This group really is just a support group for people that are looking for that, to say, all right, let's sit down, let's talk, let's gather. Here's some tips, here's some tools. We want to celebrate what you already have going on. We want to encourage you in this way. And so it's called the Turning Point Life Group.
I love that.
So we're going to be meeting twice a month. And that's kind of our focus right now as far as ministry-wise.
Yeah.
Some other things in the works is I really want to get some moms together. I have so many friends right now that have little babies. I mean, so many people.
Yeah.
And I would love to just get moms together to just share and talk and encourage each other and get advice and tips. Like, girl, my baby won't sleep. What did you do to get your baby to sleep? And just,
that's real. That's real.
And just to have that, because there's a lot of moms, especially a lot of single moms, that don't have that support and don't have that advice. A lot of new moms.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that that I want to get going, and then continuing to plan and prepare for Making to Survivor. Which is the other program that I have. And planning and preparing for that. We usually do a conference every year. Okay. This year, I want to take some time just to plan and prepare, just because I've been more so on maternity leave, so that we can do it big next year.
Gotcha.
But I am considering still doing like a small support group for some ladies that are really ready to heal and really ready to just change their lives, their minds, and get on the right track to healing.
I love it. Now, a lot of people that have gone through various things, they don't have the same passion that you have. Like, what makes you have this drive, this intensity that you have to really help get people from a place of brokenness to healing?
Honestly, because I've experienced the healing first.
Gotcha.
I think it is hard to take someone somewhere you've never been.
Gotcha.
And because I've gone through the process, I've fought tooth and nail, gone through the journey of getting to wholeness, getting to a place of healing, and seeing just the benefits of it from where I was emotionally and mentally and just spiritually, and just that place in life that I was to where I am now.
Yeah.
I can't help but to say, look, I want to bring you with me, because again, my life is not perfect, but it is so much better, so much more fulfilling than that little 15-year-old girl that I was several years ago. And so I've come to terms with the things that I've experienced. I'm okay with talking about it. I'm okay with, yes, this did happen to me. I did make this bad decision, or no, I was a victim in this standpoint.
Because everything isn't our fault.
No, it's not. And a lot of the things that we experience are not our fault.
Right.
But even coming to terms with that and understanding that, because a lot of times, especially with sexual abuse and physical abuse, we tend to blame ourselves.
Yeah.
And so in that blame, then you pile on guilt and shame, and that prevents people from speaking out or doing anything about it or sharing their story. And so I went through all of that. I went through the process, went to counseling, went to prayer. I mean, just everything that I had to do, changing my mindset. Yeah. It wasn't just one counseling session that set me free. Gotcha. There was several things. It took a while. I'm not going to lie. It took several years. Yeah. And each year there was a different stage of healing. Gotcha. But because I went through that process, I can't help but to bring other people along.
I love it. Now, if somebody is just going through something similar, or let's even say worse, let's say they're currently being molested or currently being abused, should they wait to start telling their story, or should they tell it now?
Oh, honestly, I think it would depend in what degree. I mean, you mean should they tell it publicly? You mean should they tell it so that they can get help? Like
Either way, like, I mean, because you'll see, like, a lot of people will go in on Facebook and Instagram about, this happened and I was going through this, but thank God I'm out. But what about those stories where it's like, I'm currently in this and I'm fighting to get out?
Honestly, that's hard to answer in a blanket in a general way, because it depends on the severity of the situation.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
If you're with someone who has the potential to kill you, no, you don't want to put that on social media and they find out. But there are so many different just groups in Cleveland that help with those kinds of things privately.
Yeah.
Whether it be in Google, and this sounds really crazy, but even Googling how to get help, there's a hotline, a private hotline that you can call, to get help out of a situation.
Yeah.
There are shelters that they have that are private. There's a group called Beyond Abuse, and they help literally with the transition from getting you out your house to the support that you need afterwards.
Yeah.
They help with all those things. There's so many other different organizations that do as well.
Nice.
So no, I don't think it's something that should be posted on social media if you're currently in that kind of situation.
Gotcha.
And then too, I guess I always look at people's motives for posting things on social media.
Okay.
Usually when people are in those type of situations, they're not flaunting it. They're not telling the world.
Gotcha.
And then too, what would be the point?
Gotcha.
I mean, if you really wanted to get help, there are ways to do that with professionals and people that can actually come and respond to your situation. But if you're in it and it's not to that severity where that person could kill you or something like that, you know, and you're like, I just need some advice, some guidance, then absolutely, you know what I mean? Like, hey, is this right? Is this okay? Because for some people, abuse, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, financial, sexual, because there's those types as well, it becomes normal.
Gotcha.
And so if you're trying to do like a temperature check and see, hey, I'm in this relationship and this happened, and you want people's feedback or advice, then I would say you can share it, because you can get a different perspective.
Gotcha.
But if you really want help, so to speak, I would definitely use a professional resource.
That makes sense. All right, now as we get out of here, just got one more important question.
Sure.
What motivates Courtney?
What motivates me to do what?
To keep going when you want to give up.
I hate to sound churchy, but Christ.
That's good.
And also, me. That little girl. The little girl that I was, that wanted better.
Yeah.
I have to do good for her. And a lot of people say my kids and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I love my kids and I want to do well for my kids. I want to leave a legacy behind for them. But also I think it's important to be rooting for yourself as well. So definitely Christ, me, and then, like I said, leaving something behind for my children, so that my ceiling becomes their floor. I don't want my children to have to start all over again. I don't want them to have to go through the things that I went through.
Yeah.
I just want their lives to be totally different from mine.
That makes sense. So any last words?
I would just say that if you're interested in my story or learning more about me, you can visit my website at www.courtneyhauser.com. I did end up writing all of this stuff in a book, and it's called From Victim to Survivor. It talks about my journey how I grew up, the specifics, details of the things that I talked about today, what I actually experienced, the stories, how long, and how I came out of them. The book also at the end of each chapter has tips for if you are in those situations that I talk about in the book, how you can overcome them as well. And that book is available at CourtneyHauser.com. You can check that out. I also created a workbook for people that have experienced different types of abuse, because the most important thing is transforming your mindset. When you are a victim of anything, you start to believe lies about yourself, about your world, about life, about people. And in order to truly heal and to be set free, you have to overcome your trauma with truth. And so the workbook that I've created helps you to do just that, which is also available at CourtneyHauser.com. Or if you just want to stay up to date with me, see what I have going on, you can check out the website, or you can follow me on Facebook at Courtney N. Hauser, LPC. And also on the website, if you're interested in booking a personal one-on-one counseling session with me or a coaching session, you can do that on the website as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney, for your time and a really great interview.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Well, guys, we will talk to you soon. Manny Hart Show, we're out. Peace.